What's going on, everyone? So the Golden State Warriors are in quite an interesting position this season. The dynasty appears to be over. Unless some crazy moves end up happening, the Warriors are probably at best a playoff team. You get into the playoffs, you got Steph Curry. He can do amazing things. You get the right matchups. Maybe you kind of get the luck of the roll, and maybe you're in the conference finals or you're in the NBA finals. You never know. I mean, even in 2022, when they went on that run, they weren't a team. I mean, even Draymond himself talked about how, they were terrible for a good majority of that season and then just really kind of clicked and figured it out and had the right dominoes fall their way. Andrew Wiggins really stepped up big, and next thing you know, they're in the finals and they're winning an NBA championship again. So the loss of Clay is definitely, I'm sure, hurtful. I'm sure it definitely is a bit of a culture shock. When you have a guy that was a big, important, significant glue piece of that dynasty ends up leaving for essentially nothing. The Draymond and Steph, I'm sure that they feel a type of way about it. Not in a negative light, but just like, damn, like this is really over, right? And I don't think the loss of Clay is huge for the Warriors. He's clearly not the same guy he once was. He's not as bad as people make him out to be. People really hold that last game where he was like 0-10 or 0-11 against him, but he was still very good, still one of the best three-point shooters, still on any given night could just go off for 30. He definitely lost a step, definitely not as consistent as he used to be, but he still is a very valuable piece, and I think he'll do well in Dallas. Kind of questionable about the fit, but I think he should be fine. However, Golden State Warriors, I think, are actually better now with the loss of Clay, because you basically added Buddy Hield to replace the offensive and three-point shooting of the loss of Clay. They got Kyle Anderson, which we'll see how much of an adjustment that is, but his size, his length, his playmaking, but his versatility, slow-mo definitely will be interesting in that Warrior system. And then Melton, I think he's a guy that gives you that 3-and-D style point guard, can be a big impact guy on both sides of the basketball. I definitely think, you lose Clay, you lose CP, but you got guys that I think will overall through collection, have a bigger impact on the Warriors. But still Steph Curry. And even with these players, they're not a contender. They're not, in my opinion, anywhere close. I think that they're still probably a play-in team. Again, a couple things kind of fall your way right. You never know. But I think that they're probably a play-in team still. You just look at the West. The West is just so insanely stacked. It's not even fair. And so it makes sense that the Warriors are pushing hard and basically throwing what they can to go land Lauri Markkanen. Now, there are several teams that are interested in trying to acquire Lauri Markkanen. Lauri Markkanen makes a lot of sense for basically every team in the league. Right now, he's cheap contract-wise, but he's going to need a new contract, and that's going to be pricey. That's going to be an expensive contract. But Lauri Markkanen, the beauty of him is he's really plug-and-play anywhere. He doesn't need the ball in his hands. He's so effective and efficient shooting the basketball. He's a real 7-footer, so he had some size. So you could basically play him, 3 through 5. Probably don't want to play him at the 5 much, but he is capable, being 7 feet, to play that spot and just kind of stretch the floor at that position. He's a guy that is, again, won't take away from your stars. He's not going to take away from the guys that matter on your team. And he's a guy that can come in and give you 20 plus on any given night. So he is a guy that I understand why everybody's trying to go after him. But the Warriors seem to be the one that is really just like, hey, here's all our chips, here's everything, and let's make this happen. Because based on reports, the Warriors have submitted a very pick-heavy package to try to acquire Lauri Markkanen. Now, there is this kind of disbelief that the Utah Jazz are actually going to trade Lauri Markkanen when push comes to shove. Some people have it at like 10% that they actually move him. But I think if the right package is there, knowing Danny Ainge, he's a guy that he's trying to hoard all the picks he can. He's trying to, basically be in a position such as the Oklahoma City Thunder. The hope is that you hit on a couple picks, you got this treasure trove picks, and then boom, you can make this big turnaround and make that big splash, that big play. That's what Danny Ainge is clearly trying to do. Lauri Markkanen, he's not old, but at 27, it's like, how significant is he for your your rebuild process. He's not the best player on a real team. Might not even be the second best player on a real team. As your third best player, he's probably one of the best that there is in that regard. But alongside Clay, or replace of Clay alongside Steph, Lauri Markkanen is a guy that I think would help the Warriors tremendously. I think he makes a ton of sense for the Warriors tremendously, but I don't know how much better he really would make them. Like, I don't look at Steph and Lauri Markkanen and go, okay, that is a duo that can contend with the best of them. Right? Now, the idea is like through committee, again, you have Lauri Markkanen, Steph Curry. If Andrew Wiggins can kind of get back to his form, can you keep a Jonathan Kuminga, or do you have to give him up? So let's just say you end up losing him, right? But if you could have, like, say, Andrew Wiggins kind of step up, you got Pod who will be better. You got multiple guys that, Trace Jackson should be better. You add Buddy Hield, right? You take the guys collectively, and it's like, can they give you the production of, say, a real, like, star and a half, maybe 2 stars, right? So, like, yes, it's Steph and no other real true star, but the collection of pieces are enough to where you can, with Steph's greatness, kind of push you over the top, right? You look at teams recently, right? It's like with Jokic, right? Jamal Murray is excellent, but he's not this superstar. He's not this, top 15 guy, but he's very good. He can be very inconsistent at times, as you saw in this last playoffs, but there's questions of, for a long time of, is he your second guy? But Jokic just became so great, it was like, yeah, you can have him. Milwaukee Bucks, Giannis, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, right? Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton, they're more of your third best player rather than your second best player, but you have the two of them combined alongside Giannis, and you add in, a Brook Lopez and all that stuff. All of a sudden, now you look up and you're like, oh, they're a real contender, and they end up winning a championship. So to me, it's kind of the Warriors' shot here. You go get a guy in Lauri Markkanen. Now you have Lauri, and you have Buddy, and you have Anderson, and you have Draymond, and you have Steph, and you have all these pieces around Steph. And the idea is that collectively they can, with Steph's greatness and him just going on, that insane run, now you can win a championship. That Steph is so great that you don't necessarily need that second super duper star. Like you saw with Giannis, like you saw with Jokic, right? Those two were just so great that with the right pieces around them, they were able to go and win a championship. Now, obviously, you need that all-star level guy, but you don't need that superstar sidekick, right? Now, maybe the Warriors could do something like that. Regardless, you got to get Steph, that second guy. That's been the problem, right? Like Clay, he's still very good, but he's no longer that second guy. He's no longer that third guy. He's no longer the co-star that you can have to go and win an NBA championship. And that's the issue. That's the problem, right? So for the Warriors, if they can get that guy, now the Warriors with Steph, and if he can have that bounce back year, I think that they can at least make some noise. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve. There might be a little bit of a process, but I just think you add all the pieces and all the parts together with Steph that the Warriors can really be a force. Now, I wouldn't say that they would be a bona fide lock contender. I wouldn't look at the Warriors with Lauri Markkanen as like, oh man, they're a top 5 team in the league. But I definitely think that they would be a team that has that puncher's chance. I think that they would be that team that could, surprise everybody. I don't know how much of a surprise it'd be considering the history of the Warriors the last, 15 years or whatever it's been. And then you still have Steph and Draymond. But I think it's something that really could be fascinating to watch with Lauri Markkanen, and just the way that Steve Kerr operates Buddy, and how he plays alongside Steph. And like I said, the beauty of Lauri Markkanen doesn't take away from your stars. He'll still allow Steph to be Steph. There won't be this awkwardness where it's like, I gotta play off ball. And then Steph is arguably better off ball than he is on ball. So I just think that you just have this potential with this current Warriors team if they are able to land Lauri Markkanen. But they are trying to close in, right? They're closing in on that deal. They made their offer, and we'll see what happens. So anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? What are your thoughts? How do you feel? Do you like the idea of the Warriors getting Lauri Markkanen? Where do you think it ranks them? Do you think that they're still a play-in team? Do you think that they are a legit playoff team? Do you think they have a puncher's chance for a championship? Do you think no way they're not doing any of those things regardless? Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.